in the
Okay,
second minute
I'm
warning.
gonna share the screen with y'all because we have a visual presentation.
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right, awesome, thanks. I gotta move my little thing around. So I'm putting a different hat on again now. So I'm Leslie here with Susan Silber, co-presenting the SFA Resilience Accelerator, which is, there we go. It's a funding request for partnership organizations that are going to be working together on working groups that are coordinated by the NorCal Resilience Network. What we're investing in is the fundraising and justice programs that are anchored by programs that are out in our communities like Resilient Hubs to engage broader regional partners. It's similar to the New England Library Hubs project that involves many partner organizations, but this particular project has an anchor organization, which is the NorCal Resilience Network. So take it from here, please, Susan.
All right, well, thank you, Leslie. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the NorCal Resilience Network, our mission is to promote, support and activate community-based and ecological solutions in Northern California using, really based on the permaculture principles. And we know that the Bay Area is home to hundreds of grassroots groups working on climate solutions, but so many of them are underfunded and work in silos and don't necessarily prioritize marginalized communities. So our evolving network increases capacity for grassroots projects and programs and helps to build out model sites for permaculture and resilience and build solidarity across the divides of race and class and sector with organizations and businesses and grassroots projects. So we just are sort of reactivating our membership model with some of you all here, including Shareable. Daily Acts has been an active partner, Permaculture Action Network, etc. And so we're looking at, we have a regional steering committee, and then we're going to be we're requesting funding for these different working groups for that will focus on these really important issues. So Leslie's going to talk about the fundraising working group.
Thank you, which I am co-leading with Susan, wearing a couple different hats. Many of us SFA Grasstops organizers have been dreaming about scaling up our collaborative funding for years now, and this working group is the vehicle to do that. It is time to get us Grasstops leaders together with our ally influencers to share our success stories and power up our funding. So what's our narrative or brand? There's a lot of energy on the Green New Deal right now in California. Do we go with that? And what are the best fundraising models for our kind of work? Do we go for government grants? Big fundraising events like a breakfast or dinner party that could raise big bucks. There are one-day giving day programs that raise a lot of money. There's institutional membership programs. So we're going to share our stories and document what we learn. Then we're going to test what we learn with a quote, accelerator funding program. Accelerator is familiar funding language to SFA investors, but we're going to expand the model to a community resilience accelerator for a network. That's really unique about this. It's going to be collaborative and participatory. So our favorite idea right now for our pilot fundraiser is an evening event where the TRC proposals in the SFA that are anchored here can pitch their projects. And of course, we'll be eating and drinking and dancing and having fun too, because that's what we do. So the funding from this project would pay for working group stipends and fundraising costs. Back to you, Susan.
All right, so the next working group is the project I'm super excited about because I think it's extremely replicable across the region, the country, if not globally. So that's looking at sites as showcases of resiliency. So schools and community gardens, neighborhood centers, businesses, homes, etc. and looking at resilience through 3 pillars. The first is disaster preparedness and response. As we know, there's so many more climate disasters these days, so how can we be more ready for them? And then permaculture and sustainability features as part of the site, and then building community as part of the, building resiliency, everything from a neighborhood block party to garden work parties. So we have, we started this project a year or so ago and have been pilot testing the model. We got funding from a local water agency, for example, last year to support work parties across 6 sites in the East Bay. And you see some of the examples here. We put in a 5,000-gallon rainwater catchment system. We did a tour 2 weeks ago with the emergency preparedness coordinator from the city of Berkeley. And our vision for the working group is to develop more robust online resources so that people can develop their own resilience hubs and have criteria, for example, for the hubs themselves. And then we'd love to develop leadership training and introductory workshops about resilience hubs, webinars as well. And then also we want to support the fundraising working group so that they can raise money for resilient hubs in underserved communities. And we've done some of that. For example, gave $2,500 to the Sogorea Land Trust, which is a site in the East Bay run by indigenous women to help put in a rainwater catchment system. So the third working group is the Inclusivity and Equity Working Group, which is run by Susan Park, a former Resilience Network staff person. And that's really that's convening a working group to support organizations and leaders in frontline communities to share resources and create tools to build bridges across communities. And specific work will include developing an educational workshop and webinar and promote all the amazing resources that are out there. There's so many in the Northern California, and to help really support a culture of inclusivity, equity, and justice in our network, because we are building a solidarity network with both, more privileged communities and non-privileged, not so privileged communities. So building that solidarity network rooted in equity and inclusivity.
We're technically at time, so either maybe finishing
So
thought
we're
or great,
I'm
wonderful,
done.
perfect timing. Thank you. So everyone, does anyone have any, and maybe we can take the shared screen off so we can see one another's faces. Does anyone have any questions for Leslie or Susan? I'm going to start the timer. If we don't need the full 3 minutes, we won't use it, but we can if we want. Clarifying questions? Yeah, Noni.
Maybe I wonder if some of the questions I have should be saved for the breakout session. Is there more?
A lot of what's in the breakout session are like the reviews questions that were either submitted already or general questions. So this is more for like anything clarifying. Like I heard you say over the last 7 minutes, or what I gathered was this, but can you clarify this for the group rather than something that gets really into the details, which will be the review session. So yeah, feel free to ask something here.
I'll wait to the review session.
Cool. Anything else? Clarifying questions from what you just heard? Anything you think will help the whole group understand the proposal more? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm just curious how many groups NorCal Resilience is currently collaborating with.
Over the past couple of years, we've collaborated with, I don't know, like 30 or 40 different groups. We had 30 that signed on to be members thus far, and we just last week launched the paying model and had a couple of paying members, including Shareable, and I know Transition US is committed to be a member as well. So but we're hoping the number is going to really grow as this network evolves.
Great, thanks.
Can you quickly distinguish for the group the difference between NorCal Resilience Network and this program or collaboration, like where it sits, if it's just a program of NorCal Resilience Network or it's collaboratory that NorCal and other organizations are creating together that's separate, or just where does it fit structurally?
This particular proposal, the
The
working
SFBay Resilience Accelerator, is it
it's
a program of
it's
NorCal, or is
yeah, it's part of the organization, will be part of the organization of NorCal Resilience. So the various working groups are part of,
awesome.
yeah.
Cool.
And
But I think the distinction is that the proposal money is not supposed to go just for general support of NorCal staff functions. It's to fund any partner organization that's participating in the working groups.
Perfect, thank you. So we just have 10 seconds left, so we're probably gonna move on. We're gonna have Lynn next presenting on cooperatively owned community solar.